Hey guys, hope everybody is doing well. Hope you guys are doing good. Let's go for the second time. We had to do a little reset, so I apologize for the well, we had some issues. We had some technical issues, and I had to just reset the PC and let it set for a couple seconds and started back up. Apologize about that. I was midstream. I was working fine. I think I overloaded. It's been a minute since I have gone live with doing this. It's been about a month, and I know that the company that I use has added a lot to their system. So maybe it was that plus I just maybe there was a bunch of stuff playing in the background that I just didn't know about. So it's gonna reset everything, got it going. But it is streaming well now. It is moving quickly or quicker. A lot quicker than what it was. I mean, we were waiting almost 30 seconds before it actually even turned, right? And I couldn't even get the charts to move. So it was it was a pain, true pain. So Dabs with Kick or Sidekick project is going to be coming on, and we're just doing some TA, talking about the markets, checking things out. So it's going to be fun. Hopefully, had by all. Um, it's been a minute since I've actually been live here, so I want to apologize for me being a little hiatus. I was just kind of just doing a bunch of stuff, and and I was just, Christmas time and of other things, holiday stuff. So I do this as a side project just because I enjoy it and sharing some knowledge and talking with people about it. So I'm gonna go through here. I'm just gonna share my stuff, and then we'll move forward here. Boom, here we go. And then let's go. Do a little switch here. Now, like I said earlier, and we'll just go right into Bitcoin here. Bitcoin was pretty much, we had a sell off. We hit the area in which I talked about back up in these levels where these were pretty much weekly and monthly zones. I thought by the time we hit it, we'd probably be hitting the 80, or excuse me, the 50, but we actually hit the 89 moving average right here. And additionally to that, we actually hit a nice little weekly zone right up in this level here as well. So it was a monthly and weekly zone. In additionally to that, if you look at the daily, right, when you're looking at the daily, it's you can see here that now we're about to have a crossover here, where the 8 period and 20 period moving average is starting to cross over now, and so I could see it's coming back up, testing this level, and then seeing it sell off past this area here. Now this area here is basically have been retested right here and also right here playing into our zone. So I feel the next time we come and we test this 8, we'll see another lower low down at these levels here of the 15,250 and most likely coming down to this 1475 or 14,775 area, which is sitting right here. We do have that 89 sitting at these levels here, which is pretty open. It's interesting as we look that the 89 at this level here, or sitting on the monthly 89, is going to come in and hold pretty strong. I'm pretty sure we'll see a bounce here off of this level. In addition to that, we also have the 200 period moving average sitting right here on the weekly. And as well as, again, on the monthly, we're hitting that 100 period moving average. So we've got some pretty big support levels coming in that we're going to be hitting. So we'll be seeing what happens as the market does continue. Now, when we look at Ethereum, Ethereum is looking at a level where we've been playing off of that monthly 8 period moving average pretty well. You can see here, we basically tried to come and touch it. We had a sell off. We came back here again on this monthly push. We had the sell off. So it's showing us pretty much that it's looking like it wants to go through that 50 period monthly moving average at these levels right here. As you can see, we've had it hold it, but now we've actually closed below the, looks like we pretty much closed, but no, we did not. We're about to see right here. If this month we close below that 50 period moving average, I do see it's coming back maybe doing some retestment, and then continuing down to these lower levels. Every one of these levels are a level that have been traded off a level, so which means they're not fresh levels. So typically we're going to see this probably sell off down into these lower levels of 500, like the 530, 483 area. So I don't see us holding this simply because we didn't see any new higher highs as we were moving. So that's why I'm just more apt to think that we're going to see a sell-off within Ethereum. Now, it's interesting that there's all this news going on with Binance, right, with CZ. And since we've last talked, there's been this setup going on between CZ and FTX, right? He's actually gone some pretty big flack. I mean, we all know that he was pretty much the one of the primary people who were actually giving a lot of money to the Democratic Party. And so we're seeing a lot of the media starting to talk junk behind CZ. So it's really interesting to see what's actually going on there. I mean, it's really interesting. He came out and said, look, if 100% of all of the people within Binance basically requested their money back, they would still be solvent. And that's a pretty big claim. But he then also came out and showed his balance. So it's really interesting to see, what's going to move, what's going to happen as we move forward. Also, he's talking about going in and buying Voyager, right? Like outright. So it's really interesting to see that happen. So I just, is he going to give reprieve to the clients that have their money held up with Voyager? Really interesting to see as we move forward. As we pull up right here, right? We pull up right here when it comes to BNB. BNB is sitting at some pretty strong levels. I was impressed that it was able to hold this level here. Here we go. Let me push right here. I believe that's a weekly zone here. So we played off of this level here, which is really interesting. This is a smaller level playing off of right here. And we have another level sitting right here on this weekly zone. It's holding here. So I was really impressed that we did. I thought we were going to push down into that 212 area, 212, 215. And additionally to that, we also have this 135. So if we don't see, like we start to see another sell-off between these lower levels here, we're definitely going to see some real sell-offs at the level down into this 135. I've even heard people talk about another level down around the 100 area. So it's kind of crazy to think about, at the peak level of Binance, right, where it was sitting in the 680s. Now it's sitting at like the 120, which honestly, in regards to a crypto winter project, I mean, that really doesn't scare me that much when you consider all the other headaches that many of these, like look at Bitcoin, right? Went from 67 1,000 or 68,000 now down to like 15,000, right? So it lost almost 75% of its value. So since we have an altcoin, and many of the other altcoins have actually really had some major sell-offs, and honestly, BNB has held the time, right? It's held pretty strong throughout this whole entire situation. So it's interesting to see where they're headed or how strong they are at these levels. So it's a really interesting thing. Now, if we look at it from a monthly standpoint, I do see us. The key is I want to see it close this month above this low here of the previous monthly low. If we do not close above that previous monthly low, we're going to probably come up first for January and then see a sell-off even further down into these lower levels. This is a significant area here, simply just from a TA standpoint. That's going to put into a lower low, which we're already sitting in at a lower low. But in the same sense, right, when you close below a previous low, a previous monthly low, that's a huge indication saying a real weakness setting in. So it's going to be really interesting to see what happens from a TA standpoint, what happens here. Now, XRP, it's really interesting. Their Are they wrapping up? I don't know, man. It seems like anytime the SEC is trying to pull away from them, they almost keep dragging the SEC back into court saying no. So it's really interesting to see what's actually going on. Dabs is here. Hey, Dabs, how you doing, brother?
What's up, brother? Good, good.
It's
How's,
moving, yay!
how's the stream?
It's going well. It's a lot better. I can actually play music without it skipping. I was able to. I'm happy about it. So I had to close down everything and just, I can pull everything up tomorrow morning when I trade. But yeah, it's going well. Hey, real quick, shout out. What do you do? Who are you? And where are you coming from? And so I'd love to hear about it. At least give
Yeah,
the
for sure.
audience.
Here, give me 1 second.
And while he's taking care of that stuff, I think it's interesting to sit there and see here. With XRP, I'm definitely, it's like there are some lower levels here. And for myself, I'm more bullish at these lower levels here of the 21 and 17 cent mark, especially that 12 cent to 11 cent area here. A lot of people do not want to hear that, but honestly, like, I'm definitely bullish at these levels. I mean, I sit there and I go, if we do see this thing rally even harder, I mean, we could see it get back up to that $2 mark, and that's a 20x for me, in the next bull run. And even if it goes even higher to that 330, that in itself, right, is one of those things I can sit there and be like, yeehaw. So who knows what's going to happen in the next bull run. But I do see us coming down and testing these lower levels with XRP. So real quick, so tell us a little bit about yourself real quick and who you are and where you coming from, my friend.
Yeah, absolutely. Thank you for having me.
Thank you for having
So I've been in the space, I want to say 4 going on to 5 years. When I first came into the space, I think it was like everybody else just heard crypto as like a get rich overnight type thing. So I was like, shoot, I'm in it. I'm trying to make it overnight. And then slowly, and I think that was towards the rally of was that 2018 when we just hit 20 like K for the first time.
Oh wow.
And it dropped down to like 14K, and that's when I got in. I was like, oh, this is a discount. And then from there on, I continued to basically watch a bear market. So like instead of getting discouraged during the bear market, I decided to actually learn more about the technology. And like while I'm stuck because of the price, like not being where I bought, I'm like, let me just learn at this point what it is I'm buying. And from there, I fell in love with the tech, started getting deeper into like Ethereum when I found out how you can build applications on it, got on a couple dApps, met a couple people, and then once that whole trend started, I found myself in a couple teams on the BSC space because that's where a lot of the building started to happen after the gas.
Even now, I think there's more real building happening on the BSC network than I mean, I know it sounds crazy. I mean, I love Solana. I love what Cardano is doing, but I feel like the BSC. I mean, I hop around from all the other ones, and I mean, quick question. So, are you a coder?
No, I work with developers though. I'm very close to the developers. I do more of the marketing, onboarding, helping promote a lot of the AMA talent, just based off experience, just being passionate about the technology and being able to just teach people. Like that's my passion, is being able to teach people about the technology and making it simple instead of this complex, complicated word when you hear the word crypto.
Yeah, I feel you. I think my biggest hurdle is basically explaining blockchain. I was actually talking to somebody yesterday, and I simply said, all blockchain is a way for us not to have to trust each other. In a nutshell, they're like, well, "What do you mean?" I go,
Yeah.
"It is an arbitrary. It's an unbiased, unarbitrary system where everybody can go in, put funds into an open market, and everybody sees what everybody's doing, so that somebody can't get hurt." And they're like, okay, it makes sense. And I said, you can use that application in every sense, from voting to car titles to property titles,
Yep.
everything. And And they're like, okay, but that's hard to explain because there's so many nuances within crypto to be able to, like we can go down and just talk about HNT, right? Or talk, so you can just kind of go all over the place with it. But
No,
I'm sorry,
yeah.
I digress. Keep going what you were saying. So you started getting into it. That was your real passion. You wanted to teach us. You started getting in connection with other projects.
Yeah, so that was like what you were saying actually perfectly goes along with what my passion was, because I was trying to figure out a way to explain it. And the thing that made the most sense to me when I learned about the technology was just as a form of payment, like a payment system that we have here that, in my opinion, is the best payment system that we've ever had in the existence of humans. Like, my family comes from El Salvador, and they were the first country to incorporate it. And just knowing how, for example, before Bitcoin, my parents would have to, if they were going to send money back to the country, it would be like $5 just to send whatever amount of money. And then to also give some perspective, my dad, who's still in El Salvador, he only makes about like $8 a day. So like those type of things, like, is it breaks a monetary system for the people that can't really like access it. And then I go into the explaining that I'm like, well, it's not just that, you have no borders, it's borderless. There's no government, there's no central person that can shut it down. It's um, little to no fees. Like with the proper blockchains, you can send money anywhere, no KYC, and no one can tell you no. And that's like what money should be. And that's how I kind of keep it, explaining it to everybody, and it helps because before I even got into crypto, I never questioned how money worked. I just
Yeah.
knew that the dollar was worth a dollar, never questioned why it was worth a dollar. And that was really the rabbit hole that kind of been like, oh my gosh, like I've been tricked this whole time. And I went all in into crypto, honestly.
Yeah. And so you've been in the system since 2000, so 2018. And I had a friend of mine who got into Litecoin when I first started, right? And I remember he goes, "This dude, you got to show me how to trade this." And I was like, "Oh, okay." And so I said, "Well," so I started explaining. I was like, "You want to buy here?" And every time there would be major points, I said, "Be ready for this, be ready for that." I was basically walking them through the charts. And one day I'm gonna bring him on here. He does work. He's basically he sells like dental big machines to dentists and stuff like that. But he makes good money, so he was able to buy a lot back in 2017 and 18, right?
Yeah.
And like he was in it. He started buying all these things back here, and so I was actually kind of saddened. Like when I look back now, I'm like, crap. I could have been in back here where, back in 2017, 2018, right in these levels, man, where, but, you learn, right? Like, lessons learned, right? So that's sometimes just how it rolls.
Yeah. And what I've like for me, like mentally, what I've been able to accept is that at the end of the day, we're still early. The last
Yeah.
Bitcoin's gonna get mined in like 2140. We still have plenty of time. Like we're so early that like right now, for example, a lot of people feel like they missed the boat. If you just kind of shift perspective, you can start shifting and be like, "Hold, like I'm actually 2 years early." Because when that happening happenings, it always brings the price up with it because of the cut of rewards and the blocks. So if people can just understand the cycles and just start dollar cost averaging, start learning the terms, not throwing all your money at once, then it starts like I gamify it that way, and that way you can start getting more money, or for more coins for your money, and you can just be patient because it doesn't happen overnight. If you can get into a bull market or a bear market, in the bull market, you'll be very happy that you did buy while everybody else was, like panicking.
Do you know when the Bitcoin halving is? It's April of 23rd or 24, right?
24, yeah, it's
Yeah.
2024. Um, it should stay on the same schedule, like they say with computer. Uh, the block estimates like 10 minutes. Some can average 8 minutes.
Mhm.
So we'll see where it's at. But yeah, that's roughly the estimate right now. And I mean, by those numbers, we're still super early. And this reminds me a lot of like before when we were like just trading in the range of like 10K and we wouldn't get past it for 2 years getting rejected. This is what I'm getting the vibe for right now. It's like this is like getting close to the bottom.
And you mean this right here? Like this was for 2 years where, we started.
Yep.
This is right here, and I remember telling my buddy because I remember when they actually launched on CME back here, and I literally said they're going to demolish them. Like the CME is not going to pay full price. They're going to house them. First thing they're going to do is push it up a little, and then they're going to drop it, bud. And he goes, "There's no way." And I go, "Dude, it is going to happen." And I remember he was sitting here, and he was like, so this started to happen. I remember this huge sell-off happened, and he goes, "Where do you think it's going to go?" And so I was looking at the daily charts, right? And so when you looked at the daily charts, you saw some major, support areas coming down to. So I said, well, we'll probably fall down into these levels here, down into this is down here. Excuse me.
Yeah,
Here
it's
it is.
crazy. Like that at 20, like that looks so small now compared to the last rally.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. And I literally said, well, the first one's going to probably be down in these levels here. Because I remember I said, I was explaining to him that we'll probably sell through these areas here because they've already been traded through. And the next levels will probably be maybe right here. But the truth is, I see is coming down to, it was to the 3,000. I remember I pointed it out to him. I said that this 3,000, 4,000 area, man, is really where you're going to see it come back down to. And then he's like, you should buy in at it. And I was like, nah, it's funny money, dude. It's just funny money.
Yeah, nah, I knew that for me it was like 3.8 what I was looking at, and when it was finally hitting those prices, I was telling my family, I'm like, guys, I know what you guys think, but this is the time. And like my stepdad makes like good money because he's a construction worker, so like 10K to him is like a small investment. And I was like, take that 10K that you would just have and buy 4 Bitcoin, get at least 4, and then just thank me later. And there was a mini rally after that. It went to like 14K,
Yes.
and then
Right
Corona.
here. Yes.
Yep, that's it. Yeah. And I remember him every single day when it was at 14K. He's like, I should have listened to you. He's like, I should have listened to you. And then I was like, well, it's the same thing. Like, you're still early.
Did he get back when it came down to the 4,000? Because that 10K, because I even said to my buddy, I go, it's going to hit the 10K area up in here. We're going to see a sell-off. And he's like, there's no way. I go, so he started to get the sell-off. And so he's like, where do you think it's going to go down to? And I said, well, I put in a lower high. I do see us going below this area right here, the 33. We should go down maybe into this 2,000 mark area. He's like, do you think? And I said, probably, most likely, right? Because, it's probable. TA is all about probabilities. And then I think like he saw this, and I explained to him, I said, if you start to see it get above the 8 period moving average, that's really where you want to start buying, And so he started buying pieces of it around the 5,000, 6,000 area here, right? But he also bought Litecoin as well. So he was loading up at Litecoin when Litecoin was back, 2017 and 18 when they had launched. So he was doing both. And now obviously he's doing fairly well now. He's not. I think at the peak he was just like swinging, like he was just like yeah. But
as everybody was.
and I got in. I finally got into Bitcoin. About or not Bitcoin. I got into crypto about November. No, it was in the summertime. So I think right here, back in maybe September, August of 21.
Oh, wow. Okay.
Yeah, I'm baby, dude. I'm a baby to this stuff. Like, and then I got hooked up with Moonrock, and they, and as a project, and they're more of like a they invest into coins and stuff like that, and they also create technology. But I got into them and started understanding how it's working. And then once we did this right here, I remember right here, January of last year, or was it this year? Yeah, no, January of last year. Yeah, from last year. We had this sell-off this year, right? Back in January.
Yeah.
And I said, and then we rallied up here, and I started telling my team, I said, we are in a bear market. We are now in the bear market. And they're like, no, it's going to make another high. we're gonna start having what do they call it? Supersets or super rallies, something like that.
Where it start, yeah, it's like the second phase.
Well, no. What it was is they didn't believe that we were gonna have the huge crypto winters anymore. Like
Yeah.
that's the thing of the past because the institutions are getting involved and they
Oh
don't want
yeah,
to
yeah.
legalize it. And I said, well, I mean, if anything's like the past, man, I said it all incorporates what's going to happen with the 200 period moving average. So I had one of my people, Miss JH, a lot of people know her. She
Um,
asked me,
I may not. I'm not sure.
we came down to these levels and she goes, where do you think it's going to be? And we're sitting right here back in March. And I said, it all depends on this 200 period moving average in this area here. This supply zone with the 200 period moving average, if we don't pass through it, I guarantee we're going down and we're going to hit the new levels of the 30,000 and or the 20,000 is what I said. But we're definitely going to come back down here into the 30,000. And they were like, no, there's no way. And I said, I'm telling you, as God is my witness, that's most likely you have the 400 period moving average coming through. Then you have the 200 period moving average. That's the weekly 50. And that's the reality is we're going to see a turnaround here if we don't get through this. And I remember we were coming up, we were doing a VC, no joke. We were watching it. And I said, if we put in a hanging man off of this level, we're going down. Like we are going down. And actually, the devs that I work were like, dude, you need to stop that. And I go, I'm trying to educate our people on TA. Like, this is real. Like, I'm not going to tell them to buy out here when I know that most likely we're going to sell off. And sure enough, boom, like we started selling off. And then when we hit this level here at the 30, I remember it was like, I think it was right here. Yeah, it was the 30 mark. And we basically put this candle in, bro, with no buyer wick coming in, Brett, I said, yeah, this baby's it's continuing down. And then we put the seller wick right here where we went up and it came back down. I said, we're not going to get above this area here for a long time. The 32,000, where I said, we're going to see a sell off here. And so this started putting in higher lows here. And I was like, and people were like, we're just gonna go up. I said, it's not going up. I'm telling you, we're watching. There's no real volume stepping in, no real volume on this level. This big huge candle, we should have seen the amount of volume like this, a green volume bar like that at this level. We don't. That's just them bringing in the fodder, the sellers. And bro, we saw this thing drop. So I don't know. It's just a trip. I'm sorry, I keep over talking you, dude. I feel rude. Like you're the
Oh
guest.
no, brother, no, don't feel. This is the flow of it.
Yeah, man. Who's Adele? What's up?
No, and I'm
Hey.
following you because I remember all this time too well. Like, and that was around there. This like I think I started trading roughly before then because I get like during that bear market. That's when I took the time to learn about TA and
Ah,
like leverage trading and all that. So that was actually my background. Like going into crypto, I'm like I want to figure out how to do this and learn how to trade because a lot of people on YouTube are talking about trading. So I wanted to do it. And I started trading back, I can't remember when. It was right before the rally. It was like I knew it was going to go up. The halvening was coming up. I learned about the halvening. I saw what happened every single previous time. And I was telling everyone, I was like, guys, this is it. Like, this is your chance to get under 20K. And like, if not, just dollar cost average on the way up and then keep it that way. Don't overexpose yourself. And yeah, so I was able to like turn $500 after I learned how to do trading and turning into a full Bitcoin. And then from there, I sold it, and bought a house. And that's basically after what I've been up to. And along that way, I've joined some teams that have started some project. There's
mm-hmm.
Gangster Finance, there's H&W, Sidekick Finance. That's the one I'm actively pushing right now. That because Jumpstart just released, and I'm not sure if Cause or any of the guys have talked to you about Jumpstart or what it is, but that's basically what I'm at. Like currently after all that stuff happened. We're just so I'm part of the Sidekick team, basically
All
to
right.
answer your question towards the end. Yeah.
I love it, man. Keep going. So Sidekick is basically a launching pad, but with some pretty awesome bells and whistles, right?
So,
I mean,
yes and no. So yeah. So Sidekick uses the Elite token standard. Have you heard of the ERC? It's like 31337, I believe.
I do not. I can't say I
Yeah.
really do.
See, like everybody knows the ERC 20 standard. Like
Yeah,
that's the
yeah,
token standard that's used like universal. So this one, it's a smart contract where it's a fee splitting contract. So over time, you can share the revenue with the people who are staking under the contract. And that was its original like project behind it. They were a solution, or at the time, there's a lot of scams, a lot of pump and dumps, a lot of developers just copy and pasting code and then changes the interface and scamming people. So a lot of the people just got tired, and we got lucky that this developer just brought out Sidekick. And throughout its time, it's been helping launch other projects while in the background, just building and building and building. And now Jumpstart is out, and the whole like um, difference between this and everything else that's been being launched is now we're trying to actually reach real world use case people, and it's not just crypto based companies or crypto minded, because we've been in the space, and I feel like there's not only so many people that can join, but there's so much money in Web 2 that still hasn't bridged over to Web 3.
yeah.
And with Jumpstart, if have you heard of I think it's Kickstarter?
Kickstarter. Yeah, yeah. I know. I've heard of Kickstarter. Yeah,
Yeah.
absolutely.
So
Mhm.
that's basically what it is. It's Kickstarter, except it's on chain. It's NFT based like crowdfunding platform. So if you have any idea, you can just raise the funds there on the blockchain, have a limit, have different tiers, and it all be ran on chain. And I've seen some of the people that are trying to like have products on Jumpstart, and those are the people that we're reaching out to because they're only asking for so little money, and there's so much money in Web 3 that they want to bridge that money into like an actual product where there's actually revenue being made, and that's what we're targeting. And I mean, it's going to be a giant like thing once we reach the proper people. Like once we actually get to the proper crowd, it's over. Like we're already doing like marketing, spending some good money on marketing to make sure that the first people that are getting in is the community for being so patient while we build and build and build. And now that we have a product, we're going to deliver what we've been saying. Like it's time to get it promoted after just the community promotions, because we've been very active with the AMAs these past couple weeks since the launch of Jumpstart.
No, I think it's one of those things, man. That like you guys, dude. I remember hearing like the first. I did hear you guys, and I was listening in and out when you guys were talking with Brian, and I literally thought to myself, I said, man, this is some dope stuff. Like,
It blows my mind. It
yeah,
does.
like what you guys decided you were going to do. I sat there and I said, man, if these guys can get going, and really beat people to the market, it's really you guys got to get out there, man, because if you guys get out there, like there were a few Cardanos outside of Cardano. There were a few, you know, um, BMBs. There were a few like, but
Right.
like, and the thing is you guys are building here in this bear market. So if you guys can get
Oh,
out there,
yep.
I mean, that's what I'm saying, man. I mean, I think there's only been one Dot. I mean, I think Dot is probably one of the most ubiquitous and very just open source of I mean, I don't know of anybody else like Dot,
Yeah,
during
I've
this
seen
time.
I've seen
But
people in Matic, honestly. I think Matic's slowly creeping up on my radar because I just keep hearing a lot of people building on Matic right now. Instead of, choosing these other chains, they're choosing Matic for whatever reason. And I mean, I know the reason, the layer two and the scalability, but it's before everybody wants to either build on ETH or I guess other projects on BSC, some on Cardano. The Polkadot is definitely a sleeper. That was one that I bought like when it first came out, just because when I heard about it, I was like, yeah, like this. And yeah, I had a bag of that. That was definitely a great project, still is.
Bro, just to think about, like, all right, so I forget who I was listening to. The guy, he's an OG, got in 2013. He got it, like he finally got it in 2013, but he started buying Bitcoin in 2010. He didn't start. He was in uni for, I think he was a freshman, and then it was by his junior year when he actually started understanding blockchain, right? And so he was buying Bitcoin, at, a couple, I think he spent, I mean, he's a multi-millionaire now, right? But I think altogether he spent, I think, like $600-700 in crypto, like actually put it into crypto back then, right? And started trading things and they would explode, right? And then he took
Yeah.
that money and invested, he had a moon bag, right? So then he took some of that money, put in other places, and just started exploding. And at that time, he was in a bull market, so he didn't understand really. Your first bull market, you don't get it, right?
Yep.
Like it's like, oh,
I
this is gonna
learned
be.
that.
But what was interesting, I need to go back and remember his name. I'm gonna say is Kobe is his name. Kobe. He's an OG back in 2013. He started his channel. He's one of the first ones to start a actual YouTube channel and just started
Okay.
talking. But the short of it is this. This is what I love about him. He just says, man, like, look, during, like, you think, like, after your first bull market and it's a bear market, you think it's all gone away. It's not going to happen again, right? Like that, the insanity of
Yeah,
everybody rushing,
definitely. There's some. I feel like it depends on what phase of the market you're in. Because
right?
if like it's the same thing, if it's your first bear market, then it's the same way when it's going up and the same way that's going down.
Well, what I find interesting is even in bear markets, right? Some of these call channels, man, they call things and you get a 40x, get a
Yeah.
50x. Now granted, it ain't like 100x or 1,000x like we used to see, right? But it still kind of blows me away to sit there and see these 40, 50 X's during a bear market. And if they're a good project, right? I mean, granted, you cash out, leave a moon bag, right? And then, but I mean, you might come back, let's say, for example, Kickstart, right? You got a few projects on it, right? I mean, I think you guys have like 50 projects. Is that correct?
No, on the Jumpstart we have right now, I think we saw two, maybe three running it because it just came out like late last month. So Kickstarter is what we're basically targeting. We're going to target those people. We've been emailing them nonstop, reaching out to those people because there hasn't been anything done like this. And the beautiful thing is we're not even asking for money. We're just like, here's a product, just use it. Like we created it so you guys don't have to worry about trying to figure it out. The developer has 10 years in coding and he actually knows what he's doing versus some of these developers that you get, like I said, just do copy and paste. And yeah, no, for me when I hear the developer talk about it, and I already know how it works. Like I've seen him like build it. It still makes me foam. I still can't believe that like we can say that we have this product. Like I've already been talking to like multiple people about it because there's business aspects to it. There's people who just want to build games, but there's a market for everybody, honestly. And the people that we've reached out to, like they have big ideas that they want to do with, this like technology.
Now, I want to ask you something that's really kind of like in regards to this project, right? Is there any? I mean, honestly, like, is there anything else out there like you guys? I mean, I can't believe that somebody hasn't tried to start something like this.
Not that I know of. I can't think of a single project that's using NFTs instead of like most projects use tokens. Like they just create a token, use the token to buy an NFT. But this way, it's all done in the contract. So if you go to Sidekick.finance, you can go to the Jumpstart, and it's very basic. Like anybody that can like read will be able to just see boom basic, and then the tiers. It's all set up right there. Very simple for anybody, like in 5 steps. Um, and the coach is there. Like you can set a minimum, you can set a maximum, you can do it public, you can do private. And if those parameters aren't reached by the set timer that you have put, the money just gets sent back to the holders like by default. It's just there, like done for us. And to give you an example of some of the people I've talked to and what they want to do is I have some people that do real estate, and what they want to do is buy a property, use the crowdfunding, do different tier NFTs, and raise the money to get a house, convert it into an Airbnb, and then the money that's earned through that is going to be distributed to the NFT holders, and that way it's just generating money. And that's one example that I've like heard like we and then we're also doing right now, that gives you benefits like to the earnings from some are different. Some are going to be to the Sidekick platform. Some are going to be revenue from the Jumpstart. We also have another one called Refinery. So all the different NFTs that we offer have different revenue sharing from different tiers, basically. And that's another thing. And then we also have someone that's have you heard of Signed? Like what they're
Oh,
doing? Signed
okay.
is awesome, man. Like Signed, they're building on Matic, and it's basically like a Spotify for musicians, but they get paid and they have a token that their supporters get. Like, so I can buy, let's say, um, what is one of them on there? There's like Run Vic. Let's say I buy the Run Vic token. If there's certain amount of listens on his Spotify, the money that gets generated gets distributed to anybody that's holding his token. There's another musician called like Joey, same thing. And all these musicians are just generating money for their listeners, and it's all done through like NFTs. And they also have like their own crowdfunding um, campaign going on right now.
That's dope, bro.
It's crazy, man. It's I love that like we're bridging over from like Web 3 to Web 2 and getting not just investors, but now people that are like talented in music and art and making it to where they can come over and understand this world that like we're all in.
Dude, I think once people actually start to from Web 2 to Web 3 start to understand how you can actually raise funds in a way that I I I I, I I mean the fact is that Donald Trump raised $4.5 million in 24 hours. Actually, it was less than 24 hours, right? Through his NFT project, right? Like that. That's crazy. Like that's crazy, crazy,
That's insane,
right?
buddy.
Yeah,
Yeah.
and now it's floor price in this bear market, right? I think you can buy it for $99. The floor price now is I think it's $400 or $500 now, for the floor price of that NFT. Like it's crazy. I mean, dude, like first of all, if you like them or you don't like them, look, I don't care. Like whatever. Like I don't care about politics. I think they're all part of the same genre.
Yeah.
I mean, I
They're all
really
one.
do. Yeah, it's
Yeah.
all one. Same quarter, different sides, right?
Right.
So
Left wing, red, right. Like they have to be in the
like
middle.
yeah, like I don't even want to talk about it. Anyways, well, what I'm saying though is the man raised $4.5 million with an NFT project. Like that's crazy, man. Like that's crazy. And then now those NFTs are from nine. They literally within a week gone 4x in a bear market. I mean that just to me screams, wow. I mean, it's basically what you're doing, right? But giving the small man the platform to be able to go through and create its own NFTs and actually have a network of people. So that's what I think. I love it. I love it, man. I think it's a brilliant idea.
No,
Now,
yeah, and it's giving them utility as well because most NFTs are just, art, a JPEG, and nothing behind it. These are like business that we're trying to really go for it because now you have a platform that's legit and it's all on chain. And that's all it's all about. It's using the technology that's there to make it safe and secure for everybody. Like you were saying like earlier, we basically don't have to trust anybody. We just know that the technology is there and it works.
mhm, mhm. I love it. Now you're a TA, right? You enjoy doing TA. Now, are you more of
Yeah.
a so when you do TA? Now, I personally am a zone person. I use zones and moving averages is what I use, right? And then many times I'll use like I'll be looking at certain. other markets as in divergences, just to let me know whenever we typically are looking to turn around or move back up and down, right? But typically I'm looking at wicks, as you can see here. Like I call this a buyer wick that moves back up. So basically you have a sell off, and then you have the buyers who defend this area, which typically means this area is going to be an area of defense where when price comes into it, it's going to have a hard time pushing back through it, right? And then here you have seller wicks, which is basically price buyers push it up. And then we have a sell off, which means that the sellers defended that area. Then I use moving averages as an indication of trend move. And my eights typically is what I use on a daily move, where it's like I'm looking at the daily, seeing how it's playing off of it. So I know everybody, all TA guys have their different stuff. So how do you look at the market?
Yeah, so it's funny because when I first started, like maybe my first 2 years of trading, I was very big into moving averages. That was like that and the MACD. Like I kept it so simple. And then I just kept looking at videos, and then I ran into Market Cipher. And then once I picked up have you heard of Market Cipher?
No, I don't.
Oh, it's okay. So there's this guy named Crypto Face who created this indicator. He trades like millions of dollars on like leverage on YouTube. And that's how I saw him. I was like, man, who is this guy? He's just like sounds like a young guy that's just trading with millions of dollars live. And he, you can see his indicator and he's live and he sells it. So I was able to get a hold of the code. And from there, I started using it and I learned and I incorporated that. And once I did that, I just started basing strategies off of that. So I'm a big formation guy. If I see a pattern, I chart it out and I'm very patient, just kind of wait it out. Um, and it's either it gets rejected or if it doesn't. And for me, it's very simple to see patterns. Like I'll also use divergences in the RSI. Like those are pretty easy to do scalp plays. I don't really do so much spot trading. I just have portfolios that I just buy to hold and wait for the bull market. And then I do some leverage trading trades. Like I have a group that I started like years ago when I first started trading. Uh, that's like a premium group because I would just put out calls. Like every time I place a leverage call, I just put it on there. I tell them when to take profit, make it simple for the person, and then they just have to pay the yearly fee. And at that point, I was given like lifetime. So like I made it super easy, and I hope people followed it because like I said, I turned like just for me it was like $500 into a full Bitcoin in like a year. And I put all the calls and all the trades and all the patterns on like my Discord on a private little chat. And that's where I started. And then eventually I ran into Telegram, and then that's when like I ran into a whole different world of dApps and teams, and that's where I became involved in the space versus just investing in the space.
Yeah, I think that's one of the things that for me, like as from traditional finance, there was never a way for me to get into the upper echelon, right? It just you just don't, right? Like there's no way that they're going to look at a 40-year-old guy who is, like just not, right? They're not.
What kind of
And
candles do you use? Do you use the normal or the Heiken?
no, I just use normal, man. I'm
Yeah.
pretty simple. I just use moving averages, wicks for myself. I feel as if like I can kind of gauge what's actually going on in the market. Um, I am, I keep it very simple, right? Like I'm basically looking to gauge trend. Look, I've been trading for 20 years, so I've kind of used a lot of stuff. I'm impressed with the fact that you were able to figure this out within 2 years. It took me
Yeah,
years to
that
steam.
was the internet. That's what was crazy is I never thought I could, and then I'd get off work 6 hours of YouTube like surfing every single day, and then yeah, I just started doing that. And the way I actually break it down is I start from usually the 30 minute, and then if I get confirmations of like I have, let's say maybe like 3 or 4 things that needs to check out before I feel firm about putting out a trade like on my call, or if I'm going to take a trade myself where I'm not, let's say, guessing a position here. And so from there, if it confirms on a 30, I go to the 45. And if the same thing happens, it checks those lists, that's like a better position. And then I go into the hourly and then the 2 hourly. And the 2 hour for me is like one of my favorites because it it takes more time to develop the actual formation that's like forming. But if you're patient, it's the bigger gains because because you're seeing the way I do is I'm starting from the smaller time frame is you're getting a look into what's going to happen into the 2 hour. And if all the checklists like pops out in the 2 hour, then I mean that is one of these trades that if you put it in, like I said, the percentages are usually high on those. And
No,
then
I
I'm doing
absolutely love. Go
formations.
ahead. Go ahead.
Do you do any
You're big into
formations?
formations. No, I don't.
Oh wow. Okay, that's awesome. That's crazy because I feel like a lot of people love doing the whole patterns and looking
No.
for those, but
Well, I used to, but the problem is I felt like the institutions used that, like they would create the formations to screw you over. So it was like for me, like for example, 50 period moving average. Institutions use this all the time, right? Like that's one
right.
of the biggest things, right? They use an 820 to pick 821. I pick 20 specifically because I can use it in certain other areas. But the 50, the 100, the 200, right? And I use
Yep,
the
yep.
89 as an area of like playing around, right? And so one of the things that I realized was the wicks were more important than anything to let me know where they wanted to push the market and also free space, right? Like free space was so once I understood free space and how far something could fall, right? Like I don't
Oh
come from
yeah,
the
the
internet
elevator.
age. Exactly. Like boom. Like how far can this fall? And what are going to be. So, right, like I would take something like short right here, right? Like I look at this, say, all right, well, the trend is down. Like we can see the trend is down.
Right,
So where are they going to screw people over? And between the Middle Ages, right? Or the Middle Ages, it's fine. And the middle spot. So I use the higher time frame estimates and then meaning like the daily. So right here is a daily zone. Okay, so I look at these. This is a weekly and a daily. When I say
I
zone,
see. I see what you're saying.
right. And so this is a daily moving average. This is a weekly moving average sitting right here, right? So it's not going like those are strong. Like if you go through and you pay attention, like they 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 play off of them. So you can sit there and say, all right, where are they going to play it at? So you just basically wait until you start to see more seller wicks coming in. We see buyers and seller wicks. There's indecision. As it's moving up, if price is going to continue, we're going to see more buyer wicks, meaning sell off, then a push back up. Sell off, but we didn't. We see more seller wicks stepping in as we're moving up. We don't see any buyer wicks as we're moving up,
Right,
right?
yeah.
And now then when we come back and we hit these levels here of these higher time frames and decision, if this was going to move up, this would have ended green, right?
Right.
And so it
Cool.
doesn't. And so we see it sell off, right? They have some seller wicks come or they have some buyer wicks coming in. But the key is as I'm moving up, I'm seeing that volume isn't picking up. What is it doing? It's decreasing during the trading day. Well, if it's decreasing during the trading day, you know that they're most likely going to sell off in the evening, right? Based
Right,
off
yeah.
the area.
Just waiting off.
Exactly. And so all they're doing is
Yeah,
just taking
that's
the other
very
side.
clear on that one.
Yeah. So exactly. So you sit there and you play it, and basically what you do is like you might have been stopped out maybe once or twice off of this play, not knowing when they're going to sell it off. But ultimately, you're going to see it kick in once you clear certain things. So for me, like I'm looking for a retest. So right here, I probably would have got in right here. I would have come back to play off this retest of the seller because we have the 8 period moving average going down for myself. Okay. And so I know that I'm gonna stick to trend over this. So I see a
Right.
lower high, like lower high, lower high, lower low, boom. It's silly if you're gonna try to go long here.
Yeah. Yeah, you're fighting the trend for sure.
So the trend is your friend, right?
Yep.
Well, then if we look over, we have the elevator, as you call it. I just call it open space, right? And so
Hmm.
you just follow it down, boom, right? Did we come to our area? No, we didn't, but we did play this here. So like I was short a couple times here today. So it was one of those things that as we were playing, I was actually kind of pissed because I actually had to step away. So I got the short right here. All right, I caught this short. Boom. No, did not catch. I mean right here. Forgive me. Right here, I caught this short here. Came back up. I scalped right here. Then we sold off right here. Caught this. We came back. We started coming back up. So I sold, and I had an appointment with some people, right? So I like this part right here. I started seeing sales, so I took out my trade here at the end of the day, thinking, we'll see what happens, right? And I'm so pissed, bro. I look at my
Dude, that
phone,
happens so
dude.
much.
Bro, I looked at my phone and I was like, whoa, dude, Jesus, forgive me, right? And so I could have just left because I was already up for but whatever, right? And
Yeah.
so I sat there and I said, all right, whatever, boom. We hit my zone area, right? Like this is a weekly zone right here, right? And so we put a fatty buy wig right here, okay? And we start putting in these seller wigs, but we're finding support right here. So I said, you know what? Now I was seeing some divergence in a couple areas. Oh snaps! Wait, we're talking about 2 hour. Bro, I thought we were talking today. This is the 2 hour chart. It's amazing how this played like today. Whoa! Look, dude. Look at it. It's the same thing, but on the 2 hour, bro.
Yeah, so that's one of the patterns I would have traded. Or
Yeah.
like if you go on any of the time frames, you could time scope it out. So
Yeah.
that pole would be like the range that it would drop. That would have been the measurement like I would have taken.
Yeah.
So that
Yeah.
empty space is like if you take it at the bottom, no,
Bigger.
it'd be better on the 2 hour. I think it
Well,
was
what I'm trying to
looking.
yeah, but
But
what
go
I'm
ahead.
trying to say is it's the same pattern, but from the 2 hour to a 5 minute. It's the same thing.
Yeah.
Right? That's the thing that I was like, wait, this is the 2 hour. What's going on? Right? It's like, look, it's the same thing. Like, look, you have your 50 moving average. You have the boom, seller wicks as we're coming, boom, and then you see the drop off, right? Here's the 200-day for what we were talking about, right? Like it's the same setup, right? And
Yeah.
dude, but you could have played this like, I mean, I probably grabbed it. I probably scalped some areas there. So like when you're trading, when you're looking, and obviously I never, like you divulge what you want to divulge, right? I'm not going to tell you, I mean, I think I personally don't like giving all exactly my traits because I don't want to influence other people. And especially I'm huge on getting people to learn how to trade, not just giving them trades, right? Because
Right.
the old adage, teach a man to trade or give a man a rice or a fish, feed him for a day, teach a man to fish, feed him for a lifetime.
Absolutely.
So I'm huge on like, look, you need to figure out your rules. You need to learn and put the work in. Like I put 20 years into this, like 20 years.
Yeah, no,
Right,
that's
right.
fine. No, I'm
So,
I'm the same way. Absolutely.
but each person's a little bit different. And then obviously once you start to get the hang of it, then you meet other good traders. And then they start to talk to you and you're like, dude, yeah, bro, boom, yeah. So
It's very rare. It's actually, I think you're the only other trader I really have talked to because the way I do it in my private group is exactly the way you were saying. So like I put my trades in, but then I'm a visual learner as well. So it helps to see on the chart exactly why I decided to take this trade. So I put on the charting on why I'm taking the trade. And then I started doing a trading course, like let's say university. So like whoever was in this trading group can go into it and then learn the terms, get familiarized with like the trading terms that you're going to use because it's not necessarily the same terms that you use when you're talking about the blockchain. Like trading,
yes.
like that's where it becomes different. So because I'm the same thing the way you said it, I was like, yeah, I'm very big on teaching people because for me, I want someone else to be able to have the same success and be able to imitate it and not expect it or just wait for it because if it ever gets cut off, then what that means, they have no source of income per se, or they're not going to be able to do anything. And my
Yeah,
mission is to teach everybody.
I hear you. I'm also, and this is kind of a greedy point on my point, but there are certain aspects that if I give them all the details on how I look at the market, right, then they're not like they need to learn
I get what
how,
you're saying.
like
Right.
they're like they
They need to
need.
form their own opinion based on like I guess the terms are already out there.
Yes. So like so for example, I always tell people, look at the 50 period moving average throughout the day, right? Like if you're looking at a 5 minute chart, okay, be paying attention to 50. So if we had a massive sell off, okay, most likely when we come back and we test that 50 period moving average or the 100 period moving average, we're going to see a sell off of that. Okay. So what I tell them to do is you need to go do your homework and don't take my word as it. You go through and you need to go like there's one guy that I'm trying to teach how to trade, but he doesn't really like following my style, but he likes
Yeah.
calls. He likes calls, meaning like when people send calls out, right? So what I
Oh
said
yeah.
was, so I said, what you need to do then is go back and you need to do the homework on how many, like go back and do 100 consecutive trades or consecutive calls he's done. And you need to go see out of all of those, how many give you 1x, 2x, 3x, 4x, up to like whatever the highest x that he gives on his plays. Then from there, you need to see all of his not negative, it's the wrong word, all of his plays that don't work.
Right.
Okay. And you need to calculate what's his win ratio to loss ratio. So you can get a guarantee for a certain amount of money. 80% of the time, you're going to get, or let's say 52% of the time, you get actually, you know what? I did this with one other caller. C plays, or I think it's play or C. Yeah, C plays is the guy's caller's name. I went through, I calculated, dude, and like he has a very good ratio, bro. Like it's about you're guaranteed almost a 1x on every single play he calls out.
It's nice. Yeah. It's
Like
solid.
in addition to that, now I told him to go out. I did about 200 of his plays, and I did it every month. So I did it for the last 3 months, right? Went through, calculated from the moment he called to the moment he's out, from the moment he pulls out, right? You can go in, you can get out, so you can guarantee at least 50% of X, Y, Z every single day. Go through, play it in, play small amounts, right? Have $200, play, 5, 10, $15 in each one. Boom, boom, boom. You get your trades, and that's it, right? And I said, but you need to go out and do it, right? I had actually done the homework, and I started explaining it to him. And I said, this is what you need to do. And I remember telling him, I said, do you want to win at this? Because this is how winning is done in the trading game.
Yeah, it's
Like,
not guessing.
no, it's not guessing. It's
Yeah.
okay. What's the percentage of it hitting that 100 period moving average on the 5 minute after a sell off? How many times when this hits does you see another sell off? And the times that it didn't, why?
Yeah, which
Right?
other average moved up or changed?
Exactly. Exactly.
Yeah.
So what's the difference? And that's what I want people to see and get, right? Like that's because here's the thing. I'll see the market a different way. You'll see the market a different way. And then you can teach me and I can teach you, right?
Yeah,
And that's
that's
kind of,
what I'm seeing right now.
like that's what you want to see. And then all of a sudden you got a mind group of people who are literally helping each other grow exponentially, right? It's a beautiful thing. Yeah, this one right here, dude, was a pretty awesome play right here. Like, I actually liked BN or not BNB, but Bitcoin off of this right here. I
Oh
played
man,
this.
that is a good rally right there.
Yeah, we basically I started seeing some divergence in a couple other uh, markets, and so then I was like, oh shoot, okay. And then once we started showing support right here, at this level here, this was an easy play because basically, where was it? Where was it? Actually, forgive me. Where is it? Right here. This is where it is. So we were sitting. We had the celery coming down. I have a small wick right here. So basically, I played my play where we came down. I waited for the sell off. We had the hour switch over.
Shoot, my bad.
Sorry. We had the hour switch over, and basically, I wondered how far it was going to go, but we had some support with the moving averages. And so I looked at the 15 period moving, or 15 period on the right here. I said, all right, well, we'll see what happens. Here is my wick. I placed my stop right here. And long story short, I said we'll probably see at least it come up to here to the 50 period moving average. So my risk to reward was this amount basically it was point, I think it was 3, or what is it, 4 points, 47, 61. So excuse me. So it was basically like, it was like $10, $10 to $15 was my risk, right, with one Bitcoin, right? So boom, you place it in. I know that I at least have a 5-to-1 ratio from here to here.
So it's a solid ratio.
Yeah, right. Right, like all day, every day, I'll take that, right? And so I played it. It ran up to here, and that was nice, right? And then this is kind of the area that I went live. I was trying to go live in this area. I think I got on this level here, somewhere around it. I remember we had the huge shoot off, and then I was like, I gotta go live. So I got out. But I say that because there's a
Yeah, I just got in
there's
front
some.
of my screen.
What's up?
I just got in front of my screen. You got me wanting to look at the charts.
Oh man, yeah, dude. Well, here's the thing. So let's talk about XRP, right? That was the coin that I was talking about last. So we're seeing XRP really do some unique things as a coin, like fundamentally, right? Like they're going head to head with the SEC, right? They're taking on the big boys. They're fighting, and it's interesting to see them still at these levels. It's almost like the SEC is done fighting, right? They almost want to end this and move on. But XRP keeps bringing them back into the ring, saying, "Let's go, put them up," right? So it's like I would think that you should see the sell off even further down. Um, and so personally, I think we have a lower high, right? Lower high, and this put in basically a lower low right here, or a tweezer low, right? And so for me, like I'm sitting there going like, dude, I was hoping that this would have come up at least touched here, at least to the higher time frames, right? But we didn't, bro. We put in a lower high here, and now for me, it's like I see, honestly, we've already tapped this area already here. This is already a tapped zone. So the next zone is right here. This has been tapped. So the next taparoo is down in this level right here, which is sitting at that 21, cent, 17 cent, for the next real play that they're going to find buyers at. I mean, what are your thoughts? Are you there, brother?
Oh man, I was muted this whole time. Yeah, no, I'm looking at it. What time frame is that? Here, actually, let me pull it up on my
This is the
computer real
daily.
quick.
Yeah, this is the
All right.
daily.
So you're looking at XRP.
Yeah.
Do you do spot trading or leverage?
I typically do personally leverage, and what? It just depends. It depends on what is actually going on. Actually, I know it sounds weird, but
No, I get it because I do both. I do I have a spot account that I just hold that for personal, where like you're saying, like that level being a buy level, I'm gonna buy because I know there's support there, and I'll just hold on to that, and then the next buy support I'll buy again type stuff, like dollar cost averaging, and then yeah, there's the leverage trades for the money makers.
Yeah, I agree. And here's the thing, right? So it's not just one or the other, and then it also depends. Like if I see a better setup on the spot, and I have a bigger run, right? Because sometimes like you'll see a divergence between the spot and perps, right? And all of a sudden the perps are moving up and the spot's moving down, right?
Yeah.
And then you look at, let's say, then the average of all of them, and you're looking at going, okay, when are you going to have a rubber bound bounce back, right? Who's going to win this out? Well, I'm then looking at the volume played on both ends, saying, is Bitcoin or is XRP going to play off of the spot or the few or the leveraged, right? So you got to sit there, or the perps, right, and see what's actually going on, and you have to go back and forth. You actually have to understand how it's being played with volume, i.e. delta, buyers minus sellers and sellers minus buyers, right? Like that's super important to be able to see what's going on. Are the institutions suckering you in to push this up, or are they going to and then drop it, or is this a real rally for an inter-day move?
Yeah, now I'm looking at the daily right now on Ripple. And so I use hiking to see. I know it might be a little bit different than the candles that show for you. They're still very similar, but it's looking like a spring. Like it's ready to move in a certain direction. Um,
Down.
but let's see if down, yeah, 17 cents would be the next level down. And after it breaks that, it should be like 10 cents. It's the way I'm seeing it, where the supports are like.
Yep.
Um,
I have 12 to 11 cents. I have 21 to 17 cents for the next one. And then I have I have the one that's, I think like this has been traded through, but obviously like I'm an intraday trader, right? So for me, when I'm looking at this market, I need to see how this is moving off here. So are we going to come down and hit this and then see a small bounce for the day and then a continuation? Or are we going to go sideways here between this previous demand, which has now become supply, right?
yeah.
So that's what's,
I
like,
think I think we're doing the sideways things. On the higher time frames, there's going to be a little push up, but it's not going to be much. Like it might break up back to the 48 cents, but it
I don't
really
believe that.
needs to break it. Yeah, it really needs to break that level in order for it to be any type of rally. If not, yeah, it's only going to fall below these trading like averages. It's been trading in this range since May. Like
Yeah.
that's a long time.
Well, here's the thing. This is important to pull out, right? So when we look at the moving averages, right? Now we're starting to see an actual turn down with the 8 and the 20 and then the 50. We've tried to clear, so we cleared between the 8, it cleared between the 20. When it came up to the 100 period moving average, it wasn't able to continue. Now you can see here, as it was trying to push up, you can see volume stepping in to push it up. The issue that we see, most importantly, is you actually had higher time frame moving averages sitting in between the 8 or the weekly and monthly as we were playing. So when you're sitting there looking at this, you can sit here and see that that 20 period moving average, it was bouncing off of it back and forth. On the monthly and on the weekly, we're playing off of the 20 period moving average, right? And in addition to that, you have that 200 period moving average on the daily that's keeping us below certain levels. Not 200, excuse me, 100 period moving average sitting right here. So you can see here that it's like, you've got, and it wasn't able to clear above this. So now you see sellers stepping in volume. You can see right here. And you see us now as we were it was trying to hold its own by literally, you can see all the buyers trying to hold XRP, right? Boom, 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 boom. But the reality is they want to push this market down. So they dropped it down and the trend, because the trend is down, right? Or what are your thoughts?
Yeah, no, I agree. They're definitely trying to push it down. Let's see. Yeah, see, your candles look a little bit different than mine. And I don't use the averages, but based on what
Do you want to put on your do you want to
see, I'm on my
share
phone, so I won't be able to. I might be able to.
or I can just re-click on the invite that I gave you. Just click on it within your PC, and you'll be let right into and then I'll bring you on.
Let me see.
This is exactly what we need. Who's
'Cause
Betty? How you doing, Betty? Betty Baskins. How you doing?
Oh, is there a chat? Where are you seeing the chat? I'm not seeing the chat.
It's right here to the right.
Oh, okay, I see it. What's up, Betty?
What's up, Betty?
What's up, Pedro? Dang, I'm missing these chats, man. My bad, guys.
I'm actually, I'd love to have you on here, man. Just we could be playing around. It was just me talking, man, and I literally felt as if I was just like, because the market doesn't move much in the daily basis, right? Dude, like I would be talking, all right, Warren, in between, this is a 2-week period, bro. This is like a 3-week period, right? Like, so you're like, all right, guys, well, we moved up. Now we're gonna probably move down. You see this area here? We're gonna rally back up to this level. So it's just like I'm giving them commentary, but it's not fun, and people just kind of get tired of it, right? So, who was it? Oh, was it was it DYO? Do your own research.
Oh yeah, DYOR.
Yeah, it was DYOR Media, And so he had me coming on to his show. And so he wanted me to give him a very quick analysis of what the market is. And he goes, just give him a directional. And I literally, one of them, I was like, bro, it was right here. It was when Bitcoin was, it was right here. It was right here. I remember he wanted me to give him a direction. I said, bro, there is not going to be any direction this week. We're going to see a ping pong back and forth. And then at this time, I don't know what was here. I think it was the higher time frame moving average sitting right here. And I said, if we come down, if we bust through this area here, we're going to see a sell off. You guys are awesome. Thanks, Betty. Hey, Betty, if you could like us, subscribe, and even share this, I'd appreciate it. I do this literally because I like it, but I also like interactions with people. So, if you could just like us and share it out to people, I'd appreciate it. But this right here, man, I sat here and I told him, I said, we're going to go sideways. And if we sell off, we'll probably bounce, hit this 20, come back up, hit the higher time frame and sell off. And he's like, well, is it going to go up or go down? And I said, both, but it's going to do this. Right? Like,
he's like, what do you mean both?
Yeah. And so because, we're in between, it's going to ping pong. I told him we're going to ping pong here. And then right here, it was actually dope. So we had the sell off. He brought me back on and he goes, what are we going to do? I think this was it here or here? Yeah, it was here. This was the day. It was Friday and Saturday. So he said, what do you think it's going to do? I go, most likely it's going to rally back up to here. And we're going to see a sell off for the week and maybe come back, tap the 8 and see it sell off again. And so he then hit me up the next day and was like, or not the next day, but the following week goes, dude, you were right on. I go, yes, I was right on. And I'm not arrogant. I'm just saying, I'm just paying attention to what the chart tells me. I'm literally paying attention to what it wants to tell me. I'm not guessing here. It's like, but I've done the homework. I've sat there and done the homework and back tested this, right? Like thousands of times. So you just, you pick it and intuitiveness, right? Like when Bitcoin was putting this in, right? We started pushing up. I was like, oh, this is going to sell off because we have no buyer wicks coming in, right? There's no defense against the buyers here, right? I need to see sellers or no defense against the sellers. I need to see sellers trying to push it in and then bring it back up. And there was none of that. So I said, oh, they're messing with people. They're going to take it up. They're trying to bring people in because they're out of literally buyers. They need buyers, right, to come in to push this market up so they can take the other side. Because institutions are long and short at the same time. They're never one directional. They may be biased in certain areas here. Here you go, brother. Oh, dude, your device. This device not connected.
I'm not. Can I still present my screen?
Yes. Yeah. You can present your screen though. Yes,
okay.
You can.
Let me see.
Device not connected. Why didn't you? You should be able to. All right, boom. Yeah, go ahead. So you're sharing.
So actually, this is what my charts look like.
Wait 1 second. I'm gonna remove this. Do you have any personal information that you're showing on that you might want to hide?
No, not on this one.
Okay, good. Yeah, I did that one time, dude, and I was like, oh no.
It's like, dang, not my private keys and social.
Yeah, like that's I had to go through all that and change, dude, and I was like, are you joking me, bro? So, all right, cool. Show off what you're talking about.
Yeah, so see, my charts look a little bit different. This is the market cipher I was like talking to you about. So if based on what I would be looking at if I was trading this, I would be cautious about putting in shorts just because there's this, so I'll just kind of go through this indicator. The waves indicate, whether the direction is going to go up or down. The middle zone's the neutral zone. This orange line, I'm over here pointing with my hand when I'm using my mouse. That's funny. This line right here is called a VWAMP, and right in the center is like the neutral zone. So that's the 0, 0 for me. So basically,
So it's
Whenever the
VWAP or VWAP?
yeah, it's at the VWAMP, I think.
Okay.
It's because it uses a combination of like indicators. And whenever it passes the neutral zone, depending whether it's going down or up, it prints a dot. And that usually is a direction, whether like, for example, so anything that's above here, when you want to start looking for shorts and not longs because it's overextended. So like this sell off, for example, this was telling you to get off right here at this candle, and then it printed a green one right here. And then so this sell off was better. So from here, it told you to get out about like right here. And
Were you stopped out at that first entry?
depending on your leverage. So I try not to use too high leverage. So usually don't be stomped out from like the wicks. And usually I don't know how XRP trades. Like I'm usually trading like Bitcoin, Ethereum, and I think those are the two ones that I stick to.
Yeah.
And so let me see based on, yeah, so it's such a downtrend because there's also these clouds are called money waves, like the red and the green. Usually when they're thick, it's whenever there's money coming in, and when it's thick in the red, there's a lot of money bleeding out. And there's so many rejections with it, like with XRP. Like this would be for me, and it would be such a nightmare to try to trade this because it basically it's just getting, yeah, like you're saying, it's just going down nonstop. Like this was basically a trading opportunity, but I mean it was barely a move from here to about right here. So a little scalp with high leverage maybe, and then you put it short. Like the shorts are better in the bear market. So
Yeah.
whenever you get a pump, just look to short.
Well, I always try to. So when I'm looking at my daily chart, right, I can see that. But then I also go to my inner time frames. So one of the things that I'm looking at, and this is like super important, is as we're moving up, are we putting in seller wicks or buyer wicks as we're moving up? So I'll show right here. Right. So we have this rally going on. Okay. Now we rally, but you see right off the jump, we put a fat seller wick. We don't really see much of a buyer wick. We see seller wick. We see a small buyer wick here, but more of a seller wick. Push up again. Look right here. These are sellers. So what that means is price went up, then sold off. Okay, then we came, found support. Now we have indecision, equal sides. But look, more seller wick than buyer wick. Look, more seller wick, no buyer wick. Very small buyer wick, bigger seller wick. Right? Boom, we hit a higher level here, we sell off. Right? So here, pushes back up, sells off, right? And then comes back. So this is pretty much an equal wick. No wick at all. Then we see they're finding support here. So as we're moving up, they're trying to push it back up. But if you look consistently, there are more seller wicks than buyer wicks being established. Okay, so you can see as we're moving up. Oh wait, you can't see my screen.
Yeah, no, yeah. I actually just left trying to get back in. Yeah, okay.
All right. Okay,
that was crazy for a second.
I'm so sorry. All right. So let me rephrase that again. All right. So you can see here at this level that when we have the sell off of right here, we have the sell off, right? We don't have really any buyer wicks as we're coming down. We see a seller wick. We have a buyer wick here, but it's pretty much kind of even, right? It's like we don't know directional. So most likely it's going to push back up. But as we're pushing back up, here's the elevator to go back up. You can see here that they have more seller wicks. Here's a big seller wick, and then a buyer wick, right? And this is the other thing. If I see a big seller wick at these low levels here, okay, like this, it's really important. This is where they put the majority of their shorts in. Okay, now they're trying to, like, they have. Remember, institutions have a large amount of money. Are you there, brother?
Yeah, no, I'm here. Yep.
Okay. You can see here that they're playing, and as they're moving up, there's more of, like here, there's a bigger seller wick than buyer wick. There's a bigger seller wick than buyer wick down here. You can see here that there's a bigger seller wick and there's no buyer wick. Here you have an equal amount of buyer and seller wick. Here you have more bigger seller wick than buyer wick. Here you have no buyer wick at all here. Okay, and you have a seller wick as we're moving up. You can see here you have a seller wick and no buyer wick, or a very small buyer wick. You have an equal amount of buyers and sellers. You have more buyers here, but as we continue up, you can see here that we have more sellers stepping in. Seller, seller, right? Nothing really here. Buyer wicks coming up. Then they start putting sellers. Then guess what? Now they come through. You see it now starting to break through the moving averages. So now you can know they're going to probably come back and drop it. So what do? You wait for a retracement. Boom, retracement, sell off. How far does this go? Boom. All right. So personally, I think this right here, you would have known around in this level here that this was going to sell off at least down into this level here where there were buyer wicks. That's pretty much it. This one was already established and absorbed. So this doesn't mean anything. This right here is really where you're looking to capture your trade from. So once you started busting through, we came up to the 200 period moving average on that daily, which is a higher time frame moving average, which gives you a sell off position or gives you a sell off indicator saying it's going to move down. So you're looking now for this indicator to basically turn around, right? Or you're looking for this trade to turn around. And where's your elevator going to go down to? Most likely down in this level here, right?
Yeah, right.
So
With
here,
that
let's
wick
use
there.
this as an example.
Yeah.
So we have an elevator. Yeah. So where is this probably going to go? It's most likely going to go back up into this level here because you have these seller wicks with the 400 period moving average, right? You can see here a big fat seller wick. You have some buyer wicks, but you really have a big seller wick sitting right here, right? So now let's look. You have buyer wick. This is going to push up. Buyer wick, right? Yeah, buyer wick coming up in here. There's no real sellers. It actually might push through this level. I really doubt it though because you have that 400 period moving average sitting right here. So you have a ping pong throughout this tonight. So you could capture this from here to here and then wait for a turnaround to come back and play off that 8 period moving average. Yeah, in a nutshell. I know I just gave a lot
Yeah,
there.
no. See, what's funny is based on what I would think is gonna go up, but because we're in a
Down
bear
market.
market, it's hard to really say. But
Well,
based on the indicators, just because on the higher time frames that I use, I would be cautious to short until this green dot that you can't see, but there's a green dot that just got printed. Until that green dot prints the next red dot. Here we
there
go.
you go.
So you see this green dot? Until it prints a red one, and then I would that's when I would do it. But every time, for the most part, it's been getting rejected. So I would just wait for the next red to possibly just short it. Because yeah, look, this green right here, there's a big wave, and then you got a green, so it told you to long like right here on this candle, and then it rallied up and it told you to get out like right here. So before it really like got out. So that's on the 2 hour. That's a huge like good play right there. And when the market's not so choppy, that's usually how it plays out, right? So if usually you're up here and you get a short, then you would get something like this was a good short right here from the 2 hour. You got a small little rally right here, but that like that wick and the candle, I mean, like you're saying, like that got eaten up. Like that was a seller's wick. And then I also throw this indicator in here, like whenever it's light green up on the top, that means there's actually some genuine volume, some actual buys. The difference in red is the lighter the red, the dark, like the deeper the sell pressure is. Whenever it's just kind of dark, it feels like it's like bots trading the price range. But yeah, so let's see. Because
I,
right here, so this is what the 15 minutes. The way I would have done this is it's printing the higher lows. The support is about, I would say, like that range right there. On the market cipher, it printed a green right here. It printed one right there. And with that one, it printed a higher high, essentially. And then the next time, it printed another higher high. So that's usually a good indicator that the volume's going to move up. But just like you're saying, where this play would hit this is the target. Like if I longed this, if like let's say you got here, or even if you longed on this one, my absolute target I would look for is this range. Maybe set like a stop loss up on the higher wick, And if this breaks out, then let's see what it's looking like. Then we're gonna basically trade back in this area
Yep.
that we were before and do the whole sideways until we get another breakout. But if not, I
But
would
you
say,
forget we're in a bear market. And
yeah.
you're talking bullish sentiment.
Let's
Where
see.
like where's your divergence? Because like so I see
32.
you're
Let's
saying
see.
higher highs, but you're also showing higher highs. What happens if it starts to diverge where literally you start to see a sell off within? So for example, Bitcoin, right, indicates where this market's going to go. And if we look at Bitcoin,
Right. So
like Bitcoin is like look at it. You're not shoot.
let me see. Which one's the one I have? I'll just use finance. Yeah. So see. So when you open your trades, how long do you usually keep them open for?
I never take a trade without looking through what my major market is doing and then paying
Mhm.
attention to my macro market. Or excuse me, my I'll look at the macro chart off of Bitcoin or whatever, right, to gauge, okay, where is my moving averages sitting on a higher time frame. So right now, if I'm looking at it, we're at a point where we had a huge sell-off. Now we have a rally, and we hit the 200 period moving average on the 4 hour. So personally, I'm now looking at it going, that previous had a sell-off, and now it's hitting a previous supply or a previous demand that became now supply on the 4 hour. Exactly. And so it hit that level. And now we put in a lower low there. And we're coming back and doing the retest to bring in all the suckers who are buying around thinking that we're going to move up. When the reality is it's going to probably move down.
Yeah, it is because see, this 30 minute, it's already printing the bottom hill.
Uh,
Basically, whenever that light clashes in,
yeah.
it prints the dot, and we printed it here, and it's a down. It's getting ready to print a red dot from whatever this jump was, and
So
we're gonna find out.
in addition to that, you also want to be paying attention to, did it go up first or did it go down? So personally, I think it went down. It's coming back up, and it came back up into a wick seller wick area on the 4 hour. So me personally, we're in an area of supply, right? It would have been different if it went down first and started finding more buyers down at these levels and then go, but it went up pretty much. So personally, I'm more bearish now on Bitcoin than when I look. So when I look at XRP, right? XRP is more bearish than Bitcoin. So I am more bearish. So when I look at the 4 hour, we're hitting that 8 period moving average. You can see here that it's holding pretty strong, right? We've had almost 3 or 4 days of that 8 period moving average holding strong. And we're not at a support area. We still got some distance to come down. Oh, you're not. I'm not showing my screen. I'm sorry. I keep forgetting. Sorry. But you saw what I was saying, right? Like BTC, like you pointed that out, right? Right up in here. Like I switched screens.
Yeah, yeah,
So
no, I see.
right, it went down first and now it's moved up, but it's coming up into its seller wick area where
Right.
we're fighting that 200 period, right? And we put in a lower low here. So personally, when I'm looking at this, that's what I'm paying attention. The fact that we put in lower highs and lower lows, right? We're coming to an area here on Bitcoin. Okay, now look, this is bearish, right? But you can see here that it's held a little bit of strength here for the last 2 weeks. Well, when we go to XRP don't look like that. XRP is weaker.
Oh
Like,
yeah,
like
yeah.
look at that, right? And then we look at that 4 period moving average. Look at that. Like, it's touching
It's
that eight
holding
period.
it down.
Yeah, it's being held down. So personally, when I'm looking at this, I'm going, okay, yes, we have buyer wicks. They're establishing orders as they're moving down. But this is where they're putting their orders in because the market right now is so illiquid. There's not a lot of volume being traded. So institutions have to bring in the buyers so that they can bring them in. And it's a painful process for them. But they won't move the market until they fill their bags the right way, right? So they need to sell it to then get people, right, to sell their position. And who takes the other side? the institutions who buy. So as it's dropping, that's when they're buying. Right? You can see here buyer wick, buyer wick, buyer wick, buyer wick, buyer wick. They're bigger buyer wicks, but they're allowing it to drop down to these levels where we've talked about sitting like that 32, 31, the 27, 28 area. We were talking about that 21 through the 17, as well as the 12 to 11 area. I think this is where they want to take this market down to. I agree
You
with
think so? That
Oh,
deep?
absolutely. Oh yeah, dude. They're gonna go deep, bro. Like,
See, do you do any trades with the report that comes out, like with the Fed report and stuff like
yeah,
that?
absolutely. But
Because that
I
has
traded the opposite. I trade the
how about
opposite. So
see, yeah, see that I've been wrecked with that because I do all my technical analysis and that report comes out and it just wrecks my TA almost every single time.
I'll teach you what.
And so, like, what I've realized after this previous one, at least in my opinion, it seems like the market recovers from the last report, we rally up, and then the report comes out, we drop a lot, and then we start trading sideways again, and then we recover until the next report.
So I won't talk about it here on the live because I don't want to get targeted because I don't. Listen, man. If you start sharing secrets publicly, man, you get in trouble, and all of a sudden you get flagged. And I mean, I listen. I'm a small YouTube, but
Okay.
they watch everyone, like for a fact. Like,
No, I agree. I do agree with that.
so you gotta be real careful. But I'm just saying, like, I've a couple times I've talked about the reports. Like, it was funny. We were talking in Moonrock, right, and the market was moving up at a certain point, and I said, "Oh, we're gonna sell off," and they were like, "No, well, the market, the Feds are hawkish in regard in Europe, and talking about how they were going to start, lowering this and that." And I said, "No, I don't care about what the report says. I don't care. I can see what the institutions are doing. As we're moving up, I'm seeing seller wicks, bros. No buyer wicks are coming in. They're pushing this up to drop it down. That is a guarantee." And I go, most likely we'll hit these higher time frame SMA sitting right up in here. They said, I know what I'm talking about. Well, it happened to happen, how I talked about, right? So, boom. Personally, and I'm just starting down at that road myself. Oh, okay, cool. But yeah, I like because you can't hide this right here. Like, this is active market. This right here is active market. You know what I'm saying? Like, this is letting me know currently what's going on, right? Like, there are more sellers sitting at this level here than here, right? So it may tap and we may hit this 8-period moving average.
See, my bad. I got disconnected for a second.
It's all good. Anyways, so that's it in a nutshell what I look to see, and it's done me right so far, and I feel pretty good. I mean,
I was
people
about to say if
literally
it
watched me
works, you
call,
stick to it.
huh?
I said if it's working, you stick to it. You don't, that's one of the biggest things that traders, when they start failing, they start looking at different ways when like most of the time it's been working out.
Yeah. Well, and also go back and retest. Like, that's the other thing you need to do, right? Sometimes it's just psychological. Like, you
Yeah,
change.
a lot of it is psychological, and that's like one of the things when I first teach people how to trade. I was like, emotions, get them out of here. It's not meant for trading. It's not meant for investing, and you just have to accept that. Like you're not happy and you're not sad. Like it's just part of the trades.
Here's the thing, though, that I actually disagree with that because you need you can't trade without emotion. You can't.
That's scary. It scares me.
No, well, what I'm trying to say is you need rules. Like, you need rules to govern you. You need to have every rule. So if there's a one point in time in your trading where you don't have a rule, and like, okay, like when I enter, I enter on this X amount. I am waiting for X amount to happen on this time frame, this time frame, this time frame. For all of my trades, for me to have a successful trade, I need a sequential lineup of rules met
Yep.
for me to enter into a trade. Not okay. I need about there's about 120 rules that I have that need to be met before I get into a trade. Okay?
Dang.
I'm not
My
joking.
my list is short. I think I have like 5.
Well, I mean, how long are your winners? Like you know what I'm
So
saying?
it really just depends on, I guess, what I'm expecting to do. So like you say, you start with the daily, you look at your condition on like to base it on what kind of trades you're going to be opening. I do the 6 hour. And if this 6 hour doesn't give me a clear direction, then I won't be trading for those 6 hours. I wait until the next 6 hours. And then once that happens, once I have a clear directions, I'll either try to scalp, like just do in and out, try to get in and out of trades within like 12 minutes. Um, and then the more safer like trades to say, those can sometimes take up to like, it can happen right away, like 30 minutes. It can take a day or two, but that's usually like the max. I want to say it's like 2 to 3 days is the max I'll try to stay keep in a trade, but I'm trying to get out within like the hour and then open up a new one, and like the 3 and the 5 minute within the 6 hour candle that I'm operating on, I guess.
Okay, I see that. I see your point. Yeah, I can see that. So let me put it like this: that 8 hour, or that 6 hour chart, you actually have about 15 to 20 rules in there that you don't even realize it, because you've gone through and you've actually back tested and realized that if this, this, and this, and this isn't correct, your overall macro is just jacked up.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, that's
So
exactly it.
there's about probably 10 to 15 rules there that you've put in together going, okay, boom. Secondly, then you go to another smaller time frame than your 6, maybe your 4, or your whatever one that you usually do. And then you have rules in relationship to those, right? You need this happen, this happen, this happen, this happen. If that does not work, then again, you don't trade. And those, again, are probably another 12. The closer you get down to your trading time frame, right, your entry time frames, right, once you get down to your 5-minute entry time frame, you know that it's probably going to go from here all the way to here, right? But there are probably 40 different rules, 50 different rules in between there that you've gone through sequentially to make sure that it's correct, that your analysis is correct. And if at any point in time you have maybe 5 or 6 of those rules not correct, you wait for them to get lined up.
That's really the key to, in my opinion, becoming a successful trader. Give me
Yes.
1 second, I'm about to turn on the sink. Um, because like the first couple years I was trading, there was a lot of greed in my trade. Like I would easily get 30%, 20%, and I would be like, "Oh no, I'm going for 100. I'm going for 200." And then I would like the trade would reverse, and I was like, "Dang, that was like 30%. That is solid percent like within a few minutes within a trading day." And once I learned how to get past that, I was like, "Okay, the real key is just being patient, like letting the market come to you and not trying to force a trade because you just want to trade." And once that happened, I mean, it just became so easy to trade. And then it also converted into a bull market. So like everything just felt so right.
Yeah, dude, I actually, so it's so interesting, right? So personally, right, so the market 60% of the time goes sideways. 20% of the time it'll go down, and 20% of the time it'll go up. Even in bear bull markets, the majority of the time the market's going sideways, it's consolidating, and then it has an explosion up, and then then an explosion down, right, where you put in a higher low, and then you have a sideways situation that where it goes sideways, right? So it's that's just part of the market. But understand that like 60% of the time, the market goes sideways, right? Like this is going down, right? You can see that the
Oh,
market's
shit, I was
going down.
muted.
What's up?
That's crazy. I didn't know that. 60% is sideways.
Yeah, look, but look. Majority of the time, this is
Yeah.
sideways. Then it drops. Then we're sideways. Look,
Yeah.
like what you have from here to here, you actually have a directional play, right? Then you're sideways.
Yeah. Yeah.
Then
Basically, you're
direction.
looking for that breakout.
Exactly. And so it's important to understand the majority of the time you're going to be sitting there. And now, if you're good at turning points, and there's a way to get good at turning points, all right, and you need to figure out your rules on. I have my personal rules to be able to play from here to here, okay, where I can scalp for a half an hour, for an hour. But I know that that's the play to scalp for an hour, right? Like that, boom, I caught this move, right? Boom. So that's dope. Now it's starting to rally up. I've hit my resistance here. Okay. Like this was the
Oh, but
ETA.
you gotta switch to your screen. It's on my screen.
Oh, dude, this is killing
No,
me.
but even when you were saying the sideways, I was showing when you were talking about on the charting. So it wasn't just,
Oh,
for waste.
oh, good. Yeah. So you can see here, like just on XRP, look from here to
And then
here,
boom, yep, there's the
it
direction.
dropped. Yeah. Then now look, it's side from here to here. We're sideways. Then it
Yeah.
drops. Then now we're moving up, right? Like I have rules here to let me know when I want to go long right here to here, right? Like I know most likely there's no real seller wicks here. So where's the next real institution where I can see them? That 200,
Yeah, right there.
right?
And it
Or that
met it.
100 or 200, like right here,
Yeah.
right? And so I sit here, I say, okay, well, look, we have indecision right here. I know I can gauge from here to here and try to capture from here. What is that? That's a 4 to 1,
That's a
5 to 1.
solid, yeah. With
That's a
leverage, that's solid.
well. Let's not talk. I mean, I don't ever promote leverage with
I
anything,
see, I see. Okay.
right?
Even
Because
spot
people,
though. Yeah.
yeah, people. I don't want to say people don't know how to manage themselves emotionally, right? So it's hard for them.
Yes, that's why I try to say, like, when it comes to leverage trade, I'm like, leave the emotions out because they will wreck you. Like with everything else, all right, cool. But this is the one field you do not want to leave emotions.
Yeah, yeah. Like it's
You
no
can't let
joke.
them dictate those trades. You just have to have, there's like basic rules, stick to them. If they're not met, do not trade. Do not trade because you want to trade. Do not trade because your hands get itchy. Like, like you have a list of 100. Like, shoot, I'm gonna start looking for more to add because I'm thinking I'm still have too little. I have five. Once those five hit, I'm just like, boom, solid. Open to trade.
Okay, but I pointed out this is really important, right? That you actually have those. They're met in a way that is like uh they're met in a way that's important because you actually have more rules in those trades than you realize. So you use that movie. So you use that indicator. That indicator in itself has probably about 20 to 30 rules innately placed into it, right? Like when it does when you start to see a divergence, right, where you have a lower high, but you see the market now rallying it where it's going to a higher high, right? And so the market's been a higher high, but you realize that money's coming out. So now that in itself, that's 4 rules that you just counted off that you don't realize.
Okay, yeah, I see what you're saying. Yeah.
Follow me, like
Yep.
so. And so my me personally, like I use my entry time frame here, right? But by the time I get here, I'm good to go. Like I know from here to here that I'm gonna at least get this area, right? And honestly, this was a 3 to 1. So this right here to here, I knew I could at least get from here, like right, like here. This is where it was at, right? Like We come down here. I'm looking at the market. I'm going, okay, I'm finding support here. Okay, we could drop, but we have support down at this level on a higher time frame. So I can at least
Oh
place
wow,
my stop right here to here and get to my 50 period moving average, which is a 3-to-1. Now, if
that's
we
solid
continue,
risk. Yeah.
yeah, but I know that because I've gone through and I've back tested this play literally hundreds of times, like probably maybe 1,000, maybe 1,500, right? So it's like
Yeah. What
I put the reps in. You know what I'm saying? Like, go ahead.
what's your favorite one, I guess, that you're like, oh man, this is like when this happens, you're like, I'm looking for the trade.
Really, it's this play. It's really no real sellers stepping in, right? I have this play right here where it's come up right here, and I have indecision right here, right? And the key is I can place my stop right here underneath here, okay? So it's a small stop,
Yeah.
very small stops. It's real important. And this right here, I can gauge at least from here to here, okay, which is my 50 period moving average as we're coming down to it. So it's a 3-to-1. That's
Ah,
basically
okay.
yes.
That marks out another. I see.
Right. Yeah, I'll show you here. So I'm looking at this going, okay, right. I'm seeing this step in. Here's 1, 2, and then the next one we see it, right? That next here's my third candle on this level. It shoots up. But my biggest thing is this is I can play off of this, right? Now, whenever the same idea is in reverse, right? When I'm looking at the market and it's moving up, and I know that this is a higher time frame moving average on that 100 on the 5, I've already gone through and I know, right, that we're hitting higher time frame SMA sitting there. So, like, here's our moving or not 4. That's not that was the 4 hour. Like, we're sitting right here. We're hitting that 4 hour period moving average sitting right here. Like it's right here. It's in front of your face, right? So it's like we're sitting down here. Okay, this is red, but we're at the previous zone. We have indecision, right? And now it's starting to move up. Okay, I know that's most likely going to hit that 4 hour, so I can capture that top as well as the sell off. So I hit that 4 hour 8 moving average, and then we go, and obviously there's a lot more to that, but ultimately I come down to the 5 period moving average, which is sitting right here. Right here, and I know that we're going to most likely see a sell-off, right? Like boom, right? Or I think we're right here. Forgive me. I think this is what it was right here, where we're coming up. No, it's right here. I apologize. We're hitting this, and like most likely we're going to see a sell-off. Like it's going to go down because we're hitting that 8 period moving average on the 4 hour period, and so we're most likely going to come down to where this area is again, right? Like that's just the way this market moves. It's how it works, and you can use the supply wicks or the seller wicks and demand wicks, or the buyer wicks or seller wicks, right? Like here, example, boom. All right, so you can see here there are no seller wicks really coming in except up here, but we also have no buyer wicks. So most likely, again, this is going to see a sell-off down to here, right? We're hitting that higher time frame moving average into this level here. And so if we come to the 4 hour period moving average, right, you can see here that we're at that 8 period, right? So where is this going to come? Let's see the daily. It might continue up, right? So if it does continue up, where is it going to find support or resistance? Up at this level here next. This is the daily moving average, right? We tested, we found this low. Now we're going to move up to at least here, or the 4 hour supply wick, which is here or here. Actually, more is right here. So I'm sitting there and I know that this 20 period moving average is going to be in my area, but I'm more, I think we're going to bounce off of this 8 period moving average and can continue down because on the higher time frame, we're hitting that 4 hour period moving or that 40, the 400 period moving average sitting right here with no real buyer wick stepping in until we get back down there. So you can play this from here to here, most likely. Yeah, that's it. We got 4 people listening throughout this whole entire time. Woohoo!
Oh, that's awesome.
Yeah, bro. Hey, dude, I would love to get with you, man, and just talk shop. And I didn't realize you built a. That's dope that you built something like that. I don't know. Maybe I should do something like that. I don't think I'm that good enough to build something like that, though. Like people pay for my analysis.
Oh yeah, no. You know what? It's because once I started seeing how like it was working, how successful it was, I was like, all right, like someone needs to make some money with me. And I really wanted to teach them because I legit was making life-changing money. And one second, I'm kind of far away from my phone because it's about to die. But yeah, I started making life-changing money, and I quit my job towards the end of it and decided to go full crypto. And honestly, that was like right before the market got as bad as it did. But with that money, like it saved me some good time, and now I'm just trying to work on passive income during this bear market. So whenever the bull market comes back, I'm just gonna go right back to what I was doing before and start making that money.
Do you do what's that called? Like, how do you go out and get clients? Like, or people that like come follow you, find your Discord? I mean, I think that's where like I feel weird, like sitting there and bringing people into like a Discord to say, all right, pay for this or pay for that.
Well, a lot of it was like at first, like friends and family, just because after it had worked out so many times, that's the only time like I wanted to bring people in because I didn't want any I hate risking people's money. Like I don't mind losing my money or it is what it is. Like you're saying, it took time to learn what I learned. Like you have your 20 years of experience, and I spent a lot of hours. I felt like years dedicating to learning the terms and also losing money to learn how to also trade, because that's also part of it, is being able to gain the experience of losing money, winning money, like doubling your money, making doubling your account and stuff like that. And once that started kind of popping off, like I had a few like people who actually wanted like to learn as well, because not only was I promoting the trading, but I was also like demonstrating. Like I had like bought the house. Like I did that all with the Bitcoin that I had traded. It wasn't it wasn't from anything else. It wasn't from the, let's say, like the bull market like going up. It was from actually me trading the money and getting it all the way up into what it was. Based on what I had learned. Once that kind of kicked off, once I started getting into the dApps, I promoted to a few people there, and now I'm just kind of waiting. Once the bull market comes back and I don't have to worry about reports, it's on. Like I'm coming back full. Like I'm doing my chats again. I'm putting up the trades. Like I still put trades up every year once in a while. Like whenever when all the boxes gets checked, there's no way like I can miss that opportunity, or for like the people that are following trades, like for them to miss that obvious trading opportunity.
I see that. I can see that.
So like I'll post them, but they have to be the super safe plays. Like I can't just post ones if only like 5 out of the 7 hit. Like it has to hit all 7 right now.
Yeah. And I would make sure you're taking more shorts than longs.
Yeah, right now, for sure. And that's my problem. I'm so biased. I'm such a bear bias. Like, and I would trade it personally. Like, I would have no problem with it. But those reports have really just wrecked me. I'll do all my TA, I'll mark most of my boxes, and then that report comes out, and I swear the moment that report comes out, it's over. My trades are gone, like, or all the TA is done. So I haven't really been focusing on the trading right now, just because I swear, every time I've done some TA4, like the plays will work out. We'll take the profits. I'll take the profits on the play. But if it would have been a continuation pattern, that report just takes it away. So I'm waiting out. It's definitely right now the time to be shorting. Anytime there's a great pump happening, start looking for the check marks for the shorts.
Yeah, I mean, one of my biggest things, man, is as I'm seeing, right? Like, I have another screen here that I look at, because I was looking at BTC as we were putting this in, right? So we have a huge sell-off, right? Boom, or we have a huge pump, but look, there's no buyer wigs coming in, right? So we're able to sit here, and I look, dude, this is what is this? I mean, dude, like this risk to reward ratio is nice, right? So I'm risking 400, right, to make 3,000 at least, right? We could see this continue to see a sell off here. Okay, so like I could be wrong, whatever, right? It's 400 bucks, 400 or 500 bucks. But the key is though is this is an indication because when you look at BTC, BTC is communicating to me that it is selling off, right? So you can see here and
Especially
see,
with that wick right there.
yeah, especially this
That
wick right
wick
here.
is a follow up bot the candles.
Right, right. So to me, when I'm looking at, let's say, here we go, and it's moving up, right? So sometimes it's the way it works. Sometimes I'll hit this level here, and then I'll see a sell-off. But I know between this level and here, we're going to see a turnaround if BTC continues down. So, like I said, these little areas here is always a little bit difficult, right? But I'm definitely bearish at these levels here. Now, watch, we're live here, so it's funny. It actually just might blow through this area as BTC decides it wants to sell off.
Yeah, that's how it goes, right? It
Yeah,
loves proving people wrong.
yeah, whatever. It's cool. But in the same sense, so that this is basically what I do. I look at the macro market, see what it's doing, and then I find an altcoin that most likely is showing weakness, right, in comparison to the other markets, and then I want to short it, right,
Yeah,
or
no,
long
yeah,
it, or long.
yeah.
So that's how trading is done. Like, it's just how it's done. Like,
So it sounds so simple. That's
I mean, it is simple, but it's because
yeah,
I've
true,
spent
true.
literally thousands of hours creating rules that I know from a statistical standpoint, they work. Like it's almost, I don't know. It's like every time you go to the gym, it's never easy. But when you build a
Right.
routine, and you understand how your body works, you understand how your personal psyche works in the gym, it's easier. You understand what to do. Well, imagine this like the gym, and you're putting in your reps, right?
Yeah. I
Like
like
with
the analogy. But yeah, no, I agree though. I agree. That's why um I try to preach, even if it's not trading, like at least investing, because before I found this realm, like I used to think that I was too dumb to invest, or like investing was for like the rich and the people in college. And it's I've found a lot of people just like think similar. Like they just think they're too dumb for whatever reason, or investing is not for them because they don't have a degree for it. And so yeah, no, I love preaching it because it's life changing technology. Whether you trade, whether you develop, whether you have art, whether you want to create a token, like it's all there. I love it.
Yeah, I think, and I mean, the fact is that I never thought about really helping out with projects, but I really like doing that. Like, that's one of the things I'm actually realizing, like, I really do
Oh,
know.
dude, absolutely. I mean, shoot, if you're ever interested, I mean, I can talk to some of the teams I work with, and I know in the future we're talking about doing trading NFTs, where whether we do crowdfunding and use have more capital trade and use the NFTs to distribute the revenue. Right now, I'm going to be the one that's going to be doing the trades. But, you could join the team. There's something that could be a possibility if I
Well,
talk to the team.
how are you guys getting around the SEC stuff? I mean, are you guys outside? Are you, because here's the thing with right now what's going on, I'm afraid to even touch that, to trade for a project and to like do that
Yeah,
because
Yeah, I guess
because
that does make sense. Yeah.
like that's because the SEC they're gonna come down and they're gonna start cracking on people. Like that's real. Like and because they're looking for money.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? And if they can ding you, and listen, if you're trading funds, right? You're a hedge fund, you're a mutual fund, right? And there are rules and regulations that you have to follow.
Yeah, see, that's where we haven't gotten that far. Like
Yeah,
where we place in I guess the rules. But yeah, you're not wrong about that. That's where like the liability like comes into play.
yeah. So for me, like that's where I'm sitting at, going like, okay, what's
Right. No, yeah, that does make sense.
so
And I feel like it's so, and to be honest, I feel like it's so hard for like projects to even find that gap right now. Like, because it's so decentralized, anybody can really code things. But since it's global, it's hard to really, the regulation's not there, the rules aren't there. So there are some people that want to do it, honestly, they just don't know how to. Unless you
yeah,
have a lot of money, like, the Coinbases, and at one point, like the FTX guys, but
dude, I don't, dude,
the,
that's the thing, right? Like
yeah.
that's the thing right there. Is that I was watching an interview. Oh, dude, it's late. It's 12 o'clock. Holy crap. Um,
Yeah, we're gonna cut it here soon.
yeah. Um,
Sounds
I
like
uh, I look at it like this: like the SEC is going to step in sooner or later, and they're going to
right.
crack down on this. Like, it's not going to be, and they're going to come after people. Like they're coming after you and seeing what they can get away with. And if you don't have the capital and funds to beat them in court, they just find you. Look at Kim Kardashian; she just rolled over. Look at a lot of the other influencers, bro. They just rolled over and paid the fee.
True. Yeah. True.
Because
True.
are you going to sit there and spend, hundred, like $100 million to win a, you know, it's just not worth it. It's just like, right. So they're gonna find people that they're gonna be able to come after, and that's where for me, I'm more or less like going like, I want to wait and see. And granted, I may lose out on a lot of money, but at least I won't end up in jail or having to pay huge fees and be on the nightly news.
Yeah,
Right.
but see, here's a thought. What if, since your trading's working out, like for me, this is the way I kind of see it. I'm gonna have the money. If they do come for me for whatever reason, like if because I try to stay on top of it and pay what I need to, like for tax wises. Like even with taxing, it was so difficult, like to figure all that stuff out. And they don't make it easy.
No, they don't at all. Like they
But
literally do.
if they ever do, my thought is that I'll be able to liquidate whatever I need to pay for that.
Yeah. It's. We'll look back, dude, in 15 years from now and go, those were crazy times. Like,
Yeah,
like it's
times
just,
would be times would be better and different though, in my opinion.
yeah, I agree. I do agree.
Both with regulation and the technology.
Yeah, the stuff we'll get away with. We'll look back and go, can't believe we got away with that.
Yeah, we'll be like, I can't believe what we got away.
Yeah, dude. Yeah, like absolutely. Like, dude, just your project alone, bro, being started up by just some people who had a good idea, right?
Yeah, and
Like,
that's why it's like, and it sucks that like maybe one day regulation might be like, hey, remember that project you started years ago? Yeah, like it worked and it was beneficial, but did you technically do this filing and this filing and this? It's
yeah,
like
but we'll
what?
be like, dude, it'll be like Facebook, bro, when they had to pay $100 million, but they were bringing a yearly revenue in of almost $1 billion, right? Or like $2-3 billion,
Oh
and they're just like,
gosh, yeah,
here you go, dude. Like all right, here you go. Like this is like 5% of what we make, right? Like so on a monthly basis, boom.
like Amazon doing doing the way they do, where they pay nothing either.
Yeah, that was the where you didn't have to pay back in the day when you didn't have to pay money on the internet, or you didn't have to pay taxes on the internet. Do you remember that? Were you around that time.
No, I wasn't making money on the internet back. I just started making money on the internet with crypto.
Yeah, like there was a point in time where like Amazon, uh, people didn't have to pay taxes because there were no laws. Literally, so you could buy something on the internet and not have to pay taxes. Yeah,
That's why.
that
That's why.
that was a real thing.
See, that's what I'm saying. Whatever's been going on in crypto, we'll be able to get away with it.
No, dude, we're on live, bro. We're on live here. They're gonna be able to go back. No,
Oh
we're not
man,
gonna be able
you're incriminating me. I can't do this anymore.
to. Nah, man. But realistically, um, we they I sit there and I think to myself like, are they, you know, like, like I think there are certain aspects behind this where they will go back, they will look at certain things and they'll be like, boom, boom, boom. The reason why I got out of that trade, you see these buyer wicks now starting to step in, and we're starting to find support on the 8. We didn't
Yeah.
pierce this 8 period. So I'm realizing, okay, there are actual real buyers sitting here. You see here where the volume stepped in and there was no real sellers, right, stepping in.
Is that for Ripple?
Yeah, this is for Ripple.
Yeah.
So I basically, once my price, once it started moving back up right here and I started seeing buyer wicks step in, that's when I'm like, okay, I'll wait and see now, right? Like we hit our zone area here. Boom. I basically made, out of 2 trades that I went in on, I basically made like $100 off of it, right? I lost, then win, but that's the win to loss ratio that I'm always looking at, right? So it's like, I know that he captured this. What set this off was this gap up into this demand wick or the supply wick here. Once I saw the gap up here into it where there are sellers, I basically that's why I entered here and then put my stop above here, which was a very small stop, and basically just try to run it down. I was honestly, I wish that they actually would set it up in certain ways where we could actually make, that's for another day. But yeah, that's once I started seeing some buyer would step in, and I said, all right, well, let me just wait and see because I want to see it pierce this 8 and see it mess around with this. If I see that this goes weak, then I'll be able to come back and play with this. But as of right now, it's showing a little bit of strength because I didn't see really any sellers really step in, but I see more buying stepping in. When I look at Bitcoin is still kind of weak here. So it's like, I just got to see what's going on here, right? So we'll see what's up. Actually, Bitcoin would be actually a good play to actually.
So we'll see, right? So I think XRP is going to go up here in the short term, and you think it's going to, well, you said based on what's going on right now, it's changing, but
yeah,
we'll see, right?
Yeah, so we'll see. But I actually took Bitcoin short versus. So
Bitcoin does look like it's going down versus what Ripple's doing.
Yeah.
You think Ripple's going to be the case?
Well, it depends. I mean, like, honestly, if they stop bringing the SEC back into the actual, like they were about, they were gonna get let go, but then they started acting all tough with SEC and drew them back into the court. I mean, they could have been done and over with this, and they're just, I don't even understand it, man. Like, I don't even, like, it's just more about them, making the SEC say uncle. Right?
Uncle.
It's like,
yeah.
Uncle. Oh, I guess that shows my age.
No, that's funny, man. Too. I understood it.
Yeah. How old are you?
28.
Okay, cool. So you're not some young whippy-snapper 20-year-old. So.
No, not anymore. I used to be. I'm getting to the 30s now.
Hey, man, shoot. Whatever you do, don't stop working out.
No, that's the one thing I do actually, like every single day. Otherwise, I'd go insane.
Yeah, always make sure you work out. That's where I about 32, I stopped working out. Now I'm mad at myself. So
it's never too late. It's never too late.
You're right. It's not. I'm actually getting into the gym lately and just doing squats, man. Squats is the key to health.
Yes, because that hits everything.
Yeah.
So, planks too. If you want to do some planks and that will help a lot.
Yes, planks and squats. That's exactly. Actually, pull-ups, planks, squats, and bar dips. And then anything else you do. I feel like are the 4 core, like those are the compound exercises that really just take care of things. And when I say pull-ups, I also mean chin-ups, so it's both. It's like chin-ups and
The
pull-ups.
chin-ups.
Yeah. So
Yeah, no, you gotta do the pull-ups. Come on now.
it's both, man. You got to do both. Because then you get the over rotation of your shoulders or your delts. So then
I
also
didn't
you
think
work
about
out.
that. I'm gonna try that out. Yeah, because I've always been like, oh, the chin-ups are too easy for me.
No, both. You want both because what happens when you do your chin-ups, it actually works your lower pecs as well, which gives you that nice. When you do, so if you do inner, right, it's going to work your biceps. But if you do outer chin-ups, it also works when the way you do it, right, you come down and you work your lower pecs as well, which gives you that nice, like, back in the day, I had a good physique, so I worked out quite a bit. So, yeah.
Well,
Yeah.
no, I'm gonna try that tomorrow. I'm gonna try that tomorrow because I definitely haven't done that in a very long time.
Yeah. You go from your pull-ups to your chin-ups to your pull-ups to your chin-ups. Go from wide to inner, from all wide to inner, right? Like, wide chin-ups, you know what I'm talking about?
Yeah, no, I do. Yeah, no, I do something similar, but not to that degree. But I'm gonna try it.
I used to do back in my day when I was in the military, I was doing about like share. We shared. Oh, Cher, from Sonny Bono and Cher. Is that what you mean, Betty?
She still got Betty. What's up, Betty?
Betty's still here, man.
That's what's up.
Betty's our girl, man. Or could be a guy. I don't know. No disrespect. In
Yeah,
this day
no,
and age, you never know. So
we appreciate you, Betty.
yes, 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 yes. Run, baby, run. So
Hmm.
what's up?
All right, brother. Well, I'm about to jet. My phone is about to pass.
All right, man. Hey, let's schedule another time. I'd love to have you on. I mean, shoot, just even have you on. I don't know. I'm thinking about doing this again, like on a maybe 3 times a week, 4 times a week. Just kind of come
Yeah,
on,
for
we talk
sure.
shop if you're down.
Yeah, most of the times I'm just home chilling by myself. So if you were streaming, just shoot me a link and I'll be in.
Most stuff. Hey, hit me up privately real quick so I can actually have you on a private. Actually, I was doing
Okay, I'll shoot you. I guess a message through our Telegram that we got going on right now.
it. Dabs.
All
All
right.
right, guys.
All right,
All right.
brother.
Pleasure, brother.
Pleasure meeting you. Thank you for having me. Thank you for everyone who's been chilling with us. I was about to curse, but I'm gonna calm it down. Thank you, everyone. That's awesome. Happy holidays until the next time.
Yes, yes, yes. I'll probably go live probably on Wednesday, maybe Friday, but we'll see. All right.
Okay, that sounds good.
All right. Talk to you soon. Peace out.
All right, brother. Peace.
All right, guys. Thank you so much for coming in today. Appreciate you. I hope you guys enjoyed today's show today. We talked about a lot of stuff. I actually got really granular with you guys today, so I hope you guys enjoyed it. Um, it's fun having somebody come along and being able to talk shop with them and being able to communicate and hang out with them. So that was fun. If you guys have any questions, any concerns, you all know that you can find me with Moonrock Coin. Um, and you just check me out over there. Moonrock Coin. I do host there. I'm also in Ninja Lounge as well as Coin Launch Lounge, and I do pop in the Midnight Lounge as well. So if you guys have any concerns, anything you want me to look at coin wise, please reach out to me. I am here for you guys. If you need me to look at things, I have no problem checking them out. Also, if you guys have any concerns regarding, give me 1 second, share screen. 1 second, boom, share. If you guys have any other concerns regarding anything that we talked about, please reach out to me. I'm willing to help you guys out. You know where to find me. And you guys have a blessed day. It's 12 o'clock Eastern Standard Time right now. Or you guys have a wonderful morning or a grand afternoon. Either way, stay safe, stay blessed. And I will talk to you guys soon. Many blessings. And thanks for coming on. I know I've been gone for about 4 months or for about a month. So I appreciate you guys coming back. Many blessings.